New details tonight on early voting plans in Columbus County. New records shedding light on the state's role in potentially cutting how many early voting sites the county will have. WECT's Connor Smith has details for us tonight. Connor, you got text messages showing the state auditor's office talking with the Board of Elections chair about early voting.
Yeah, that's right. Dallas Woodhouse, the former elections liaison with the auditor's office, texted the board chair that 5 early voting sites in Columbus County was, quote, overkill. We first told you in June the Columbus County Elections Board was considering slashing nearly every early voting site. On May 27th, these messages show Dallas Woodhouse texting board chair Jillian McPherson Edge, both of them Republicans. Woodhouse says 3 early voting sites in Columbus County is plenty. And 2 weeks later, McPherson Edge changed her proposal from 1 early voting location to the 3 that he mentioned. Curtis Hill, the president of the Columbus County NAACP, says the messages reveal a partisan push to suppress voter turnout.
The people on the board should not be influenced by partisan politics and those kind of things. It should always be about what's best for the citizens.
McPherson Edge sent me this statement today, writing, quote, "Neither the state auditor's office nor any outside individual directed or controlled my decisions, and no one outside the Columbus County Board of Elections made decisions on the board's behalf," end quote. Woodhouse also sent me a statement saying that exchanging ideas and feedback from all sides is exactly what's needed to make early voting plans as strong as possible. Fran?
So, Connor, where do the early voting plans for Columbus County stand right now?
Yeah, the County Elections Board was ultimately split between a 4-site plan and then a 5-site plan. The State Elections Board will consider both of those plans at a meeting, and that's scheduled for August 20th.
All right, Connor, thanks so much for that update.